champ is here! The champ is here!
This is Tory Muhammad, and as long as I have a bowl of bean soup, you've got half. Greetings, this is Tory Muhammad of Bean Soup Times. Today we interview a black man determined to be part of the solution. This national organizer hails from all over the city of Chicago, the South Side, the West Side, and the North Side. He has a passion for helping the community and seeks to end the senseless violence. He wants to bring people together block by block. I encourage you to listen to this interview that I conducted with Cy Smith of the National Block Club University.
My name is Cyron Smith, but everyone just calls me Cy Smith. It's easy to pronounce. 42-year-old African-American male from three places I love to claim in Chicago. The first one being Cabrini Green, the notorious Cabrini Green. Also grew up on the near west side of Chicago, the Jane Addams housing complex. And then 63rd and Damon, that's in West Englewood. So together, that experience from the west side, south side, and north side, I think prepared me for the work that I do right now.
And tell us a little bit about that work.
Growing up in the projects, I've been surrounded by shooting and killing my entire life. At 5 years old, I remember asking my mom why was blacks killing blacks, every night like clockwork. Literally, the one guy, group of guys, I won't say the street tribe, would go into the building and shoot at the next one and vice versa. My family was on both sides of the aisle. My father was in one tribe, my uncle was in another tribe. And so I just couldn't understand. I heard about the KKK, but what I was seeing was all black. I only saw blacks shooting every night trying to kill each other. And I remember her response was real troubling to me about why blacks was killing each other, not the white sheets that I saw on TV. And I made that pledge in 1986 that I wanted to grow up and do something about this black killing black epidemic I saw back in the 80s in Cabrini Green on the north side of Chicago. And so fast forward to now, 24 years in that I've been doing this block by block organizing, getting our people in position to turn things around, because I think that's the key, is are we in position? Because if you're out of position, then you don't have the right relationship to execute. So that's kind of what we do. The purpose of it is around stopping the violence, which is something, like I said, in 1986, I made a pledge to do something about.
And talk a little bit about, I don't want to put anybody else down, who has some great ambitions and have great vision.
Right.
But you come and you talk with great organizational skills. and with that being so important to accomplishing a goal, talk a little bit about some of the things you've been doing and how you've been connecting the cities across the country and across the world.
Right. Thank you for that question. The key with that, and I think in the essence of all of recognizing that everyone has a strength. Everyone has gone through something that is unique for that person. So a superior leader, and in the military I had a chance to be around superior leaders, not just good leaders, but leaders who, if they make the wrong decision, people die, and their loved ones will get a visit from the military. So I feel like that exposure allowed me to see what top-notch leadership looks like. And one of the good things about that is you recognize that everyone has their own story. And the more you value not having to go through what that person went through, you can listen and take advantage of that without having to go through it. It makes the team stronger. A good example of that, my boss at an accounting firm, I wanted so bad not to ask her a certain question. It was a simple question, but I didn't want to ask her because I felt like she would say, "You don't know that?" But another leader told me, he said, by you asking her, what you're doing is pulling down 50-some years of her experience in one question and getting the answer without you having to go and do that yourself. And that, the light bulb went off. I said, man, that's what it is. I'm pulling from that person's experience. Why would I go and repeat that? So from an organizer standpoint, it's valuing that everyone has something to bring to the table. If one person could fix our challenge, it would have been done already. So recognizing that one person won't do it, and when you recognize that, then you see value in other people. So whether I'm in Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, each person has their circle of influence, people who believe in them, who recognize what they say is true for what they're working on. And so as a leader like myself, who's been around superior leadership, I just want to be a part of that. I don't want to control it. I think that's part of the problem. Ego gets in the way that we want to control things, but really you want to merge and link in where the sweet spot is. Everyone has that niche, that area where they're willing to give up a little bit because they know it's a thorn for them. And that's when you connect that. Where you're weak, I'm strong. So let's link that together. But it starts with a mindset that you don't know it all. You don't have all the answers. Everyone has their unique set of experiences. When you recognize that and you've been coached on how to merge the two, man, we cooking the grease. And I think that's the beauty of being in this game so long in the toughest city in America to organize. Chicago is the toughest city. No other city has the unique challenges, and it plays out this weekend. 101 people, 138 people shot, 14 dead. Even though the president sent in the federal support, it just shows you how tough it is in this city, this great city, that we still have work to do before we turn this whole thing around.
And so talk a little bit about your organization and some of the things you're doing.
But with all due respect, I love to talk about the process, because one of the challenges in Chicago is the organizational gangbanging. So we hear about the street gangbanging, but you have non-for-profit gangbanging. And the sad thing about it, the same ruling elite that benefit from seeing us divided are the ones perpetuating that. So they put a few $5,000 grants out there, and now we're fighting over who does the better job helping people, just to get that little grant, instead of pulling our resources together and funding all the organizations doing real work. We fighting amongst each other unnecessarily. So what we do, we have a process, and the process is important because that means an established series of steps. An event, unfortunately, and that's where a lot of these grants come from, so people can throw an event. Event ends. With what's happening to black people, we don't need much to end except the violence, so we need steps that everyone can take, from the guy out there that dropped out to the sister with her bachelor's degree. What series of steps can we all take that move us as a people forward? So our process is simple. We want to meet the 5-year-old that desires to be a carpenter. We want to meet the 29-year-old carpenter in his prime. We want to meet the 75-year-old retired carpenter. We want to get them 3 brackets together and do what they do. Go and rebuild porches for the elders in the toughest neighborhoods where there's a lot of hopelessness at. Let's get the nurses together, the 5-year-old nurse, the 29-year-old nurse, the 78-year-old nurse. So our process is going in distressed neighborhoods and doing the census. We need to know who's there, what their expertise are, because we value that they bring something to the table. If the right process is in place, they can just do what they do organically, and it helps all of us out. That mom whose 17-year-old son who desires to become a carpenter, who's dropped out of school thinking about robbing your grandmother, that robbery would turn to a murder. But if we get him and link him with the 29-year-old carpenter, he don't have time to go and commit that robbery that turns to a murder. So it's real process that needs to take place in order for us to turn this whole epidemic around.
Man, and so what has been the response from the community?
Unfortunate. That's the raw reality, unfortunate. But I understand. I'm a Navy guy. I spent 14 years in the Navy. And sometimes people drowning, when you try to save them, they can end up drowning you in trying to save them. And that's where I see us at. The very people you want to help, unfortunately, because hurt people hurt other people, they're hurt, so they end up hurting you despite you trying to work to make life better. So in Chicago, again, it's the toughest city to organize because people are under constant attack. So on one hand, I say we're doing excellent because despite the challenges, we're meeting people every day, at least 10 people a month, which is a low number, but you figure that's 120 new types of people who can make a phone call and bring 5 extra people. So it's a benchmark. I say that as a benchmark. But those people that you meet, unfortunately, we losing some of them. Their son getting shot and killed, so they go into depression. They're not playing no more. They're not in the game no more because they are mourning the loss of their loved one. And so it's almost like we're not netting anything because we're losing as much as we're gaining. the solution and the beauty of what's getting ready to happen is our out-of-town connection. The key with out-of-town is similar to what America did in Iraq. Whether you agree with it or not, we went in there and we took away their structure that they had. Then we propped it up with our troops. And the minute we pulled our troops out, then it fell back into what it was when we disrupted it. So what we're saying in urban America, we need to prop up the local leadership. They're burnt out, they're beat down, they're under attack. So you need out-of-town people who can come energized, motivated for a duration of time, and their job is to reinforce the locals. To me, without that reinforcement, if someone gains victory in any of our neighborhoods, Westonwood, Chatham, you hear about organizations doing good, it's short-lived because whoever is heading up that organization is one bullet away from that organization not being sustainable because it's probably led by 3 or 4 people, not the whole community. The whole community is benefiting, but it's led by a small group. And if that small group has impacted their son or daughter or someone in their family, it disrupts the whole organization. What I'm suggesting, what we're working toward, is having people from out of town here to prop them up, meaning they have layers of support. So if they take a hit, it's someone else who can back them up. Now we can execute on multiple agendas because we have layers of support that's reinforced with outside people who don't have to worry about retaliation. They can get in, get the job done, and get out. And that's what I think we have to have, that military style fight for what we're going against in Chicago.
Talk a little bit about some of your next steps and what you encouraging the community to be a part of now.
The bottom line, we must self-fund whatever revolution or organization that we're going to use as a pilot. So our philosophy is to get everyone to contribute. We're talking small amounts, but we must see participation from the people. These are the people who benefit, so you helping to finance what you're benefiting is self-determination, it's self-respect. When someone is giving you something, essentially they're in control because the minute they choose, not you, to take it away, they have the power of doing that. When you finance something, you can choose to finance it, you can choose not to, but you have a choice. So we must convince our people that we must self-fund whatever it is. You should get grants, go ahead and do that. But from a block-by-block perspective, it's so important that we self-fund ourselves. And we have the money to do it. The lottery numbers have been consistent for almost 50 years in terms of how much money we give away trying to win money. The casino, same thing. All the other ethnic groups in our community making money with the liquor stores, the apparel stores, the nail salon, the gas station, corner stores, cell phone shops, all by outside people making money in our neighborhood and leaving. So when people say we don't have the money, we're rich with the money. They wouldn't risk their lives being here if we wasn't rich with resources. So I want us to stop drinking that Kool-Aid that we don't have. They recognize what we have. That's why they risk their lives coming here from all over the world to extract. And we had to learn to value what we have, see the value in each other, and collectively bring it together. One of the big next steps, though, right now is summertime in Chicago. Our focus is to try to bring in 108 people from Atlanta, Birmingham. They will be here. They will be. We have one person here now. We brought in from Georgia, staying with a family in Roseland. That's our model to house. So it's almost like the foreign exchange program, but it's the national exchange program for us. So not foreign like for them. And it's about how do we bring in these new assets, place them inside of our current Chicago human capital assets, and get the work done. What is the work? The work is whatever that profession is. We have to get the nurses, the doctors, the teachers, the carpenters, the nurses together with the children who aspire to do that. One of the things that pain me is when I see the young people earning money with the summer jobs program. We're not engaging them about the need to keep money internal, like Chinatown and Greektown. So they get this money and they give it right back to people who don't care about their survival. That's one thing. The second thing, they're not really earning the money. They're getting paid to ultimately be babysat. So you get them, they stick them in the corner, they coloring and drawing all day. They have something to offer society, and we're not challenging them. We're not putting them in position where they can be actually learned and mentored to. So we're just putting them there so they can earn money to give to people who don't care about it. A total injustice, but what it does, it allows the people who gave the money to show that they did something for these people. And we just got to get smarter than that. So our next step is to put them report cards together to evaluate those people getting the money who can care less about our young people's real development, not just their economic short-term gain.
Man, beautiful. And you mentioned something during a conversation earlier about it's not just that we need jobs. Talk about what else that we need in between or along with a job.
But jobs in some circles mean just over broke. You chasing, you're a hamster on the wheel, you're chasing it. You know, you really don't want to be there. The minute you're looking for a job, you get it, now you hate work. Here's the thing, everyone brings something to the table. What is your passion? What is it that you wake up willing to do if you didn't get paid? How do we put money behind that? And that's the key. So we have to help people become entrepreneurs in whatever they feel it is. We have a plan and a proposal where we'll put 30,000 people to work as relationship managers. That's a different field. That's a unique field. All it is knowing how to interact with people, putting them in a position where they can help someone else out. All the young men and ladies that want to be carpenters, there's so much that can be done from a wood perspective in our community, whether it's the porches, the dog houses, and going out there generating that income. So that's one of the things that we do. But here's the thing with jobs. I personally believe that we need awards and travel more than jobs to really deal with the ills in the black community. The thing with a job is, unfortunately, you're probably going to have a low-skilled job. That can cause a lot of frustration because all you're working, you struggle to get there, then you get your paycheck and they take most of it. So you're not happy in a job. Now, if you're in a career, that's a little bit different, but a job is you just getting over. The reason I say awards, because people have a need to be recognized. There's some people going through a lot of stuff, and if we found ways to recognize people, man of the month, woman of the month, student of the month, elder of the month, student of the year, elder of the year, if we find reasons to recognize people block by block, it's going to boost morale, because now someone is taking time out to recognize what I've been through. That's huge. The second thing, travel. A lot of people need to get away from their family and friends. The family is part of the problem in a lot of instances. Their friends is part of the problem. So you take them out of the environment. We take a young man who's a shooter, well, if he's a shooter, we should go to jail. Who's a previous shooter, paid his debt to society. Now he wanted to do something different. You take him and you put him in Miami for 6 months. While he's in Miami, he's into photography. That travel alone can keep him alive. So that way he don't run into the people he shot and get killed that way. Or he don't hang around the same family and friends who was into that type of behavior before. He's away from them. He's in Miami. He's linked with a photographer in his prime in Miami. He get to start over fresh. If in his family, he was the one that got bullied all the time out of his siblings, now he away from that bullying situation. He can spread his wings and be himself. So jobs to me is a pacifier. We have to create reasons to recognize people, and there's all type of reasons to recognize people, and we got to get them traveling. And of course, put money in their pocket. Whatever their career field is, photography, then we go out there and we ask people to buy pictures that he take. That way he can earn money as an entrepreneur. But to me, that's what needs to happen in Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, Birmingham, you name it. We got to recognize the hurt people. They are hurt. They need to be recognized. And the job, you're not getting recognized at the job. So,
what's the single most thing that keeps you motivated on a daily basis?
Kenya, Nairobi, Africa. I spent time there in 1994. What I saw there, I vowed, I looked in the sky in the beautiful continent of Africa, and I promised not to complain in America. That was 1994. So, trust me, I want to complain about a lot of stuff, but then I remember back to 1994 and what I saw with our people in Africa, and I said, I'm not going to complain because I think Americans are spoiled and we don't know what real struggle is. And so that's what keeps me motivated, is knowing that it's a place that they endure even more.
Beautiful. Anything else you want to cover?
No, man, you did excellent. Thank you for what you do. Again, I think the key is recognizing that everyone has their area of influence. Let's celebrate that. Let's recognize that. So thank you, my brother.